Hi, welcome to If I Did It, a show where we analyze and solve PR kerfuffles from MMA world and beyond. I'm your host, Alexio, and joining me as always is Kid Native Bloody Elbow and EUGENE'S Robinson from Aussie.com and author of Fight. Everything you ever want to know about ass kicking, but afraid you get your ass kicked for asking. But we ask anyway.
Name of the game, baby. Look at that, I got a big giant poster. I'm like the lonely guy with the big giant poster. So I had sex with this famous woman once, and she had a big poster of herself in her living room. I thought that was very strange.
Romantic. What kind of? Yeah.
Well, it was a floor to ceiling poster of herself. So she's grappling with me in the middle of her living room floor, and I happened to glance at the poster. I'm like, huh.
What expression did her face have on the poster?
Oh, it was alluring, but it was.
She wasn't going like this.
Man, frozen.
Eugene froze. He's frozen.
I froze. Yeah, that's probably better part of valor for that one.
Yes, I think the expression froze like Medusa. It had a freezing effect. Speaking of which, Eugene, you're WME-IMG.
Yes.
Nate Diaz.
And I'm happy.
I didn't think they wore fuchsia at WME-IMG.
Oh, they do. Believe me.
Let's see.
No, seriously. I got a story on the next Knuckle Up that will roast you. Roast your mind from straight in the belly of the beast. I'm teasing it here, but it's great. I can barely keep myself from telling it.
Man. Well, one thing you can tell us, WME-IMG, Nate Diaz, Brock Lesnar, and Jon Jones have a December 15th date with Destiny before the Nevada Athletic Commission for a, quote, proposed adjudication agreement, end quote. Does your PR prep for each fighter differ, or do you have specific plans in place?
You know what? If I'm it's less the speech I'm giving if I'm WME-IMG. The speech I'm giving has less to do with the knuckleheads I gotta work. I got working for me, and much more to do with the commission. Now look. If you were at the council at Von C, wherein they decided the extirpation of European Jewry, the Nazis, there was very little that was written down. So if it wasn't written down, it was spoken. And the way people spoke in the I can't remember the exact date of Von C, but the way things were spoken, it was not very direct speaking. And I'm imagining, one, I got the Nazis in the first 3 minutes, but I'm imagining the conversation with the athletic commission will go something like this. John and Brock and Nate, they're really good boys, It'd be terrible if something bad would have happened to them. Like, I can't think of how many millions and millions of dollars would be at risk. Money that I could probably put to much better use other places. I don't, making people happy, all kinds of people. People like you or me, we'd be happy, wouldn't we?
You mean the Nevada taxpayers, I believe.
yeah,
That's
sure.
To say.
And if that goes south, I don't know what you mean, sir. I don't. Then you got to crank in there with, the world's a dangerous place, and all kinds of things happen to good people when they're not paying attention. I mean, at this point now, when you promised to move the base of operation from Nevada to Los Angeles, they got nothing. At this point now, they're buying me massages. They're getting me fucking manicures. We don't need you, man. You know what? I'll make a deal with you. You take boxing, and we'll take our MMA franchise to Los Angeles, where the star power that's on our board of directors can kick it into gear. I don't have to tell those guys shit.
Would that be the same California commission that just licensed Conor McGregor to box? I don't think they're exactly number one on Ari Emanuel's hit parade right now.
Hold on. I'm sorry. Do you think that's not what he intended to have happen?
You think that's all part of the master plan?
Oh, we'll have a fight.
see.
We're going to take the boxing match out of Las Vegas too.
Kid Nate is he's at the gambling table going, this time I'm really gonna win. This time this time. Come on, man. Come on.
Man, you're like Alex Jones, fervently believing in the all-powerful Zog.
You're the one who brought up Zog. I didn't say anything. It's just like you don't spend $4 billion on something and stumble and bumble in the dark. This is not
They borrowed somebody else's money. They didn't spend their own money.
Even better, man. You're not making these kind of fucking mistakes. No way. They got nothing. Johnny Boney Joni they're doing exactly what they should with him. Keeping that fool busy. They got him grappling Dan Henderson. Now he's got in 6 weeks he's going to be grappling again with Chael Sonnen apparently.
Or Luke Rockhold.
Rockhold has stepped into the fray. You got Misha Tate, who couldn't be bothered to really even train for this MMA match, who she's all excited about grappling. People used to boo when guys went to the ground before. Now somebody slips puts in a vine, gets a leg in, and people are like screaming. We have been enculturated. Whatever. You can Weiler. He's doing what he needs to be doing. Brock is somewhere counting his cash in America, Canada, America. Wherever America, wherever he is, and Conor has got 15 dicks and bags of gold, according to Joe Rogan. So there's nothing really to. Do you guys not hear that? Am I the only one who heard that?
This is totally 15 dicks and bags of gold.
Yeah, I don't know what Joe was talking about, but the phrase 15 dicks in the bags of gold came out of his mouth. So I'm okay with just one, unless it's one of those types of parties. In which case there are many more, but even then I don't need that many, So I don't think they have to do anything. If I'm WME, I'm not doing anything except making sure everybody understands everything that needs to be understood, if you know what I mean.
I see.
What do you think, Nate?
Well, I think Eugene's clinically paranoid, but
okay. What was that supposed to mean?
Spiders.
I think you got to have different strategies because you got 3 different fighters at 3 different points in their career. Brock Lesnar, I think, is done. I don't anticipate Brock Lesnar returning to the UFC, although maybe if they're really desperate, and they could be, but let Brock go down the river. I mean, and the whole thing with Brock was he got a special pass to get around the USADA testing because, new guy in the UFC, which like Angela Hill today is in tears on Twitter posting videos of herself because she won't be able to fight the day that they wanted her to fight coming up in December because of USADA won't let her. But for Brock, they made these exceptions, and then he turns around and still fails the drug test. Like, I can't see how they're happy about that or want to treat Brock the same way they treat somebody they want to do business with in the future. And maybe they do want to do business with Brock in the future. I mean, he's big business, but he's old, he's expensive, and he's a huge pain in the ass. Nate Diaz is also a huge pain in the ass, and he's getting more expensive, but he's nowhere near as expensive as Brock, and he's slightly younger and very popular. Him, they want to do business with. Jon Jones, on the other hand, is on the shelf for a while and in the doghouse. So I think you got to have 3 different strategies. Nate, you want to rehab his image. I don't even know that you need to rehab his image. You just want to get him out there and get him fighting. Brock, I think fuck Brock from their perspective. Like, I think Brock did them pretty shitty. Like, they bent the rules for Brock, and Brock still turns around and pisses dirty. Who wants that? Who's happy with that? And then with Jon Jones, keep him, like Eugene says, keep him busy, keep him on probation, keep him in the doghouse until he learns his lesson.
So we're going to keep.
I don't like the punitive thing. He's got a year. He's got to serve out his year. He works for you. You got to keep him busy. It's like that's not the doghouse. He's either a bad boss, lets that guy twist in the wind, and then he fucks up again, and then you got nothing. You've invested all this, and you got nothing. Having him work, that's his job. Having him work is a smart thing to do. It's not, if he's looking at it as something punitive, he's thinking about it the wrong way.
Fair enough.
He doesn't have to work. He gets to work.
Well, someone who is getting to work.
Like, you don't have to have sex with me, but you get to have sex with me.
Is that what you told the woman with the looming photo for her living room?
No.
See.
What I froze on is when I was talking about the $3,000 worth of makeup and photography skill that went into the photo versus what I had in front of me.
I see. That was the harsh contrast.
Not really, but I preferred what was in front of me. I was amazed at what was on the wall, but the dissonance was shocking. I always prefer the real. I didn't need the $3,000 thing. It was fucking up my vibe,
Man.
I see.
Well, speaking of fucking up vibes, Nate, UFC featherweight champion, Jose Aldo.
Featherweight.
What'd I say?
You said featherweight. I mean featherweight, but featherweight.
You mean Waldo?
Yes, Max Holloway's victory last week.
Max Holloway he just got a squeeze. That was like I'm pretty sure he was fed that.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing him coming up with that on his own. He was fed that.
Yeah.
Okay.
By a professional Hollywood scriptwriter?
I'm gonna say Crosby.
Crosby, the disgraced former MMA judge?
Yeah. I got it from inside spies that he was feeding Chael a lot of those lines. I'm sorry, I'm derailing the show.
Yes.
I'm like, what show is this?
You went down to
MMA tete-a-tete.
You went down to clinical paranoia, and I just went all over the place with that.
Yeah. Well, so Max Holloway's victory last week in UFC 206 solidified your next matchup, but doesn't seem keen on a February 11th date in Brooklyn at UFC 208 when telling Ariel Helwani on the MMA Hour, quote, "We will see what happens."
Oh, I'm sorry. You told who?
I don't want to give up Christmas, and I don't want to give up my son's birthday on January 4th for February 11th, and the guy don't show up, end quote. Is that an opening for playing mind games with Max?
Are you asking me or Nate?
Me.
Nate.
And I'm supposed to be Jose Aldo here.
Aren't you paying attention?
I was paying attention. I was paying attention to your antics over here. Distracting, disleading. Yeah, I don't know if it's an opportunity to play mind games. I think he's already playing mind games with the kid anyway. But I think Holloway scored first with the whole, I'm not going to do all this training because Aldo's got a reputation for pulling out of fights. So I would say advantage Holloway on that front. And if you're Aldo, you got to play mind games just out of self-defense. Plus, he also made the classic mistake of the over-eager would-be boyfriend by announcing this date at UFC 208. Like, don't look desperate, dude. Look like, yeah, you want to fight me? I'm the champ. I mean, you're supposed to be the champ. Remember, he just got anointed with the title, and Holloway just got anointed with the interim title, both of which are totally fictional and made up. Like, I think Holloway's already in Aldo's head. I think Aldo's head is scrambled, and I don't know what to tell Aldo, man. I mean, win the fight, train hard, and don't hurt yourself. But those are very hard things for Jose Aldo to do. So, I don't know. I hate to say this, but you're on your own, son.
Damn. Well, what do you think, Eugene? I know you know something.
Well, I'm not clinically paranoid or anything. I don't care what everybody says, what everybody else says. What they say about me is not true. No. This is interesting. I mean, I immediately started getting tweets from people in the know saying that, hey, yo, man, Holloway was played. And everybody heard the whisper heard around the world. Mention Brooklyn. Mention Brooklyn. Mention as he's putting the belt around his waist. What the fucking kind of, was it? Hey, they invented these things, bald one called microphones. It's a little black fuzzy thing that's kind of hanging in the air around your head when you're putting belts on people. Shut the fuck up. Or was that not an accident? I don't know. But the reality of it is, a lot of what Nate says is true. I think Jose Aldo is comfortably fucking, Major Tom. He's floating around out there. We have no idea what he's doing. We have no idea what he's doing. We have no idea what kind of state he is. But you know what we do know? We do know he's not fighting. He's training. Maybe. Who knows? He's not fighting. He's threatening to retire and play soccer, but he's not fighting. And once again, he got juked by McG because his whole idea of him pulling out of fights, he only did it like a couple of times. The guy's fought how many fucking times, right? But, sometimes that the leprechaun comes in and he goes, bing, You know, it's like one of those guys when you were a kid growing up and the guy hits you, glosses you with a nickname that's fucking sticks and it's a shitty one. Okay, this never happened to me except for people using a diminutive of my name. Huh?
Nathan Bacon was
They
one
called
I
you
got
Bacon?
saddled with. Nathan Bacon.
That's actually all right, man.
What? This is the
Now,
worst, stupidest, makes no sense, doesn't even
No,
rhyme.
because there's that T-shirt "Making Bacon" with the two pigs fucking.
This was
You're like,
in 1983. This is long before the Making Bacon T-shirt.
No, Making Bacon T-shirt was like 73. What are you talking about?
Okay, well then, who knows these ancient things you refer to?
Yes, yeah, okay.
But you think somebody wrote the whole Waldo line? Do you think that is a sign of
I think that, no. I'm talking about the idea of him being a perpetual
no-show.
No-show. Yeah, but and I think that was, you know, I mean, why we like a Donald Trump, and I mean the collective why we like a Conor McGee has everything to do with the fact that they speak uncomfortable truths, you know, or how I like to say, they say the wrong things at the exact right times. Right. And call it Aldo a perpetual no-show. Perpetual is a strong word. The guy misses a couple over the life of the fucking fights he's fought, but we don't know. And it's not entirely clear to me that he's winning that fight. It's not entirely clear to me that either one of them are beating Conor McGee, who they should hope. They should hope they can generate enough fucking smack to lure Mystic Mac back, because that's not. Yeah, there you go. That's when you hear that. Nate's shaking his head, and I'm shaking my head like the bobbled dog in the fucking car. I just don't see it happening. What's the point? There is no point. And I know what's going to happen if it did happen, and because I think my personal take, the guy's head is shot. It's shot. And why?
Aldo's had his shot?
Aldo's had his shot, man. I don't know that he makes it by Holloway. I don't know that he lives long enough to revenge. He is going to sail off into this fucking Captain Ahab sunset future. Woulda, shoulda, coulda, if I did. So, you know, if I'm Holloway, I'm going to do what I do until I see some paper with big numbers on it and cash. I'm going to have Christmas. When I go to New Year's, I'm going to hang out with my kids. I'm going to go to the gym and just kind of work out the kinks. I mean, usually guys have that long on medical hold after a fucking fight. So I'm going to do what I'm going to do. You know, you guys do whatever you're going to do. And if I feel it's not enough fucking time, I'll roll the dice. I'll take it. Or you know, if I got a 50 chance that Aldo's going to pull out. So fuck it. Right. Or I'll just torment them for months going up. I mean, the world at this point, the world's his oyster completely and totally. Because there are other fights that people want to see too, right? I mean, isn't Tony Ferguson flying around here somewhere in the mix, right?
Ferguson's going to fight Khabib, I think.
Yeah. Okay. That'll occupy our minds for a little bit of time, right? So.
Not the big money, not in a big money sense.
Not in the big money sense, but after this past weekend, man, it doesn't that big money.
I only care about big money, Eugene. You can enjoy the little things.
That's the old way of thinking. Seriously, that's
I get paid based on web traffic. And
nah. Okay, yeah, whatever, man. This weekend prior to, you know, have you? What are people talking about today?
Donald Trump and the CIA and Russia, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. Within the MMA world.
A little bit of Holloway Aldo, and they're not like gushing and gooing over the great.
I'm hearing oodles of shit about Superboy and fucking.
No, me too. That's what I was hearing today.
There's a little bit of chatter about Superboy.
Not a little bit, a lot. A lot.
A tad. Fight fans don't give a shit about quality fights. They do not. They do not. If they did, Frankie Edgar would be a superstar.
Nah, you're wrong about that. You're wrong. What happened with Frankie Edgar is not at all what happened with Cubs. Did you even watch the fight?
I did. It was a great fight, but it was not as good as either Edgar Maynard fights.
I don't even remember that, man. That's so long ago. You're an old man.
You're dropping references in 1973, and now you're saying you don't remember Edgar Maynard.
I don't know what you're talking about. That never happened.
Who let Danny Glover on the show?
That never happened. This is the age of Trump, baby. That did not happen. That's a damn.
Well, something that did happen, Eugene. You're Jennifer Lawrence. Your disrespectful destruction of a sacred Hawaiian site described on the Graham Norton Show resulted in such a kerfuffle. You apologized to the internet, and it fell flat. The reason? You came across as fake, and you should have apologized to Hawaiians. Given your PR image as an activist champion, can you act your way into making amends?
Yeah, you can, of course. The public has a super short memory, and nobody gives a fuck about Hawaiians anyway. I mean, sadly, Hawaiians do. You know, the #1 place where road rage, the most aggressive road rage ever.
Also, Layla, you just talked about this last week.
Whatever. I'm not dwelling
It's
on the point.
reminding you.
I'm making the point in passing.
I
You
see.
know, Hawaiians are wound a little tight. You look at Holloway, he's wound a little tight, but the reality of it is she's a dumbass. You don't care about her movies, and you won't care about her movies in 8 years. How do I know? I got 2 words for you. Sharon Stone. Have you thought about her a while? Sharon Stone?
It's been a while.
Yeah, or Kelly.
I think about a Gilbert Godfrey joke about Sharon Stone more often than I think about Sharon Stone.
What was the Godfrey joke?
He said there was a scene in Basic Instinct, So Hot, where you could actually see, at one point in that movie, you could actually see the smoke coming out of my ears. That was his joke, which I butchered. But that's neither here nor there.
I think I'll remember you're telling her that joke. More than I'll remember Sharon Stone. So what do you think, Nate?
Well, I think she ought to appeal to Mark Zuckerberg since he bought like 3/4 of Hawaiian Island. Does Mark Zuckerberg care? And then she could have Zuckerberg come out and say, "Hey, I forgive her," and then it's all good. That's what I think. Go to the owners. Don't worry about the little people. It's the Trump era.
You know what I also like, and what I think that was pretty interesting is that Madonna somehow usurped yet another minute of fame out of us. Did you get that? Is that coming up later on the show? Because
no, we haven't. You can derail it to talk about Madonna.
Where she got on this what was it? I read about
car ride thing.
Yeah, and she got up and said, the thing that people seem to find most irksome about me is that I haven't gone away. And in a beautiful act of public relations jujitsu, she turned the fact that she's a over the hill, out of it celebrity into a cause to celeb that has everything to do with ageism and sexism, with her as a spear point for all these poor former celebrities, Taylor Danes and Tiffany's and Debbie Gibsons, who just got a bad shake just because they happen to get, we call it the musicians of Bremen Town. They were going to take them to the glue factory, but I should be sexy until I'm 96 if I want to be. It's the self-determination. It's become this whole political thing, and people like thumbs up, and W Magazine is praising her, and it's like, you go, sister. And out of that, she eked just another 30 seconds of mind space in my fucking mind. For what? You think she cares about the great grand sisterhood? Bullshit. What she should say is, the thing that people find most irksome is that I'm still around. And when they subjugate women, me, when they try to tell women, me, come on, stop it. Take your billions and oodles of money.
Well, I have a lot of feeling for women for women who can act and who are being ageist out of roles. But Madonna couldn't act when she was young and hot. And she wasn't even all that hot to begin with. And she hasn't made a good song since, 89? Yeah.
No, I know.
You didn't like that ray of light.
No, and even the movie, the one where she was hitchhiking with the dirty pictures in the early 90s, that was all terrible too. That was,
which she ruined by putting Vanilla Ice in the book. Yeah, Big Daddy Kane I could roll with, but Vanilla Ice, it dawned on me, she doesn't know what she's doing. Is there nothing to do with that? The guy had no credibility.
You're totally right. If you think Big Daddy Kane is sexier than Vanilla Ice, that's racism.
I'm not talking about sexy. I'm talking about credibility. Credibility. Big Daddy Kane still had. Yes.
He's from the streets.
Who?
Vanilla Ice.
Vanilla Ice.
The mean streets.
I didn't get that
out a window once.
I'm mired in clinical paranoia. So.
Well, speaking of paranoia, Nate, you're President Barack Obama. According to the Washington Post, you were informed by multiple intelligence agencies that Putin was trying to get Trump elected by leaking hacked info. When Mitch McConnell balked at making a bipartisan announcement in the fall, you did nothing. Now that President-elect Trump is your legacy, Is there anything you can do to make amends?
Well, he's trying to do it now with this whole kerfuffle about the CIA and hacking in the election and having the electors briefed on what exactly was happening. But to me, it's just like, what a way to go out. He's going out like he came in, reaching across the aisle, trying to compromise, trying to bring the Republicans on board, and getting smacked down again. And it's just like, dude, 8 years of this, and you didn't learn a fucking thing. Mitch McConnell just sat on your Supreme Court justice pick for a whole fucking year, and you didn't do dick, nada, zip, zilch, nothing. So why should this be any different? Like, you know, and I mean, there's a lot of questions about the whole CIA thing anyway. Like, the thing people are sleeping on is this wasn't the Comey stuff. Comey, like, I think there's a case that Comey came out and fucked Clinton out of winning the presidency. But there's no case that the WikiLeaks emails did jack shit. Maybe a few Bernie supporters got butthurt over the news that, oh my God, the DNC wanted the favorite candidate to win and win early and voted green. But that's not what swung Wisconsin. That's not what swung Florida. That's not what swung Pennsylvania. So there's like this big conflation of what and who. And also the fucking hacks happened before Trump was even the nominee. Did Putin know Trump was going to win the nomination back when everybody was saying there was zero chance Trump was going to win the nomination?
Yes!
I don't think so. Well, I mean, maybe he's smarter than Bill Kristol and the other DC pundits, but who is it?
He has Rasputin feeding him the future.
Yeah, but as far as Obama and his legacy, dude, your legacy is President Trump. So, you know, unless you can, I don't think this thing is going to stop it. I don't. If they get the Electoral College to vote against Trump, I mean, what are they going to do? Vote in Pence? Vote in Mitt Romney? They're not voting in Clinton. There's zero chance that a majority of Republican electors vote in Clinton. So I don't know what he's excited about.
You know, we read ourselves into a lot of these personalities and personages around us. And here's my impression of Obama. Oh, sir. What? Huh? Well, looks like Trump is ahead. It looks like he's going to win it. And America is in flames. And what the hell? It's terrible, sir. And he looks at his bank statement. And he goes, oh, yes, yeah, it's terrible, all right. It's terrible. Well, sir, aren't you going to send Mitch McConnell something to, yeah, I get him on the phone. You know, I mean, whatever, man. I had this job for 8 years. I did all I could for you. Legacy, here's your legacy. Baby, look at that bank statement.
Cash in, baby. Cash in.
I could choke a fucking
flat tax, baby.
Yeah, you know. So how about you cut taxes, let him in? You know, seriously, man. Seriously, do you think he gives a fuck? Do you think Hillary just if she had something better to do with her time, she would have been doing it. This is her lifelong dream. She's like the girl Andorra, a girl I went to school with. Man, she was a grinder. She was just killing it. But nobody liked her. You know, it's like, you know, whatever, man. Andorra, she got her homework on time. It was all nice and neat in her pen set. It was always nice and perfect. Nobody gave a fuck. They don't give a fuck, you know. So, yeah, I mean, we wanted him to be this way at the beginning. Maybe there was he really thought I could do something transformative and different. You know what? That big bully over there, I'm going to go talk to him. I've seen people do that. Don't relax. This will be all right. And they walk across the bar floor and they go, hey guys, there's no need to boom. The guy's on the ground and he's expecting me to help him. I was like, I didn't tell you to go over there. You know, I'm not helping shit. I didn't tell you to go over there, you know? So I think it's largely the same thing. He had good intentions, didn't work out. He's got his millions. He's got his library. He gets out of office. America does it to itself periodically. You know, if you're not old enough, you don't remember that the years under George W. Bush were terrible. Absolutely fucking miserable.
What about the Carter years?
The Carter years were pretty fucking bad too.
21% interest rates.
But at the same time, we didn't elect him to a second term. But the dummies felt like well, it's what's worse, staying or admitting that you're stupid and said, well, if I don't admit I'm stupid, then it's your word against mine. And they doubled down and voted for W again and gave him more of a chance to fuck this country in the butt, which he did with glee. You know?
Yeah, I remember the time too. People were like, "You never change a commander in chief when you're at war. You can't change the command." So many people were saying that. They're like, talking about we can't. We just can't. I want to, but we can't get rid of the commander in chief. Well, we're
And I think at the base root, Americans like to fucking complain. And if we elect those who we think will give us an opportunity to complain the most. Seriously. And if you don't think that was in play with Obama, you're crazy. That's exactly what played. And black folks too. We got so used to saying, fuck the president, fuck Nixon, that mother Reagan, that piece of shit. And people thought, oh, there's gonna be, it was a tearful, joyous moment when Obama was elected. But how long really did it have to kick in before? Yeah, well, hey, what have you done for us?
Yeah, but you know what? Part of what Cornel West said.
Fine, Cornel West was one of the first.
Who during the time everyone was like, oh, and I was one of them. He was like, look, you couldn't even make legitimate arguments against Obama because there were so many different attacks from racists and everything that it's like, leave our president alone. And that is what happened too. And speaking of which, what's happening, it's our teachable moment. Eugene, you're the Endicott Fire Department. One of your firefighters blamed Black Lives Matter for burning his home. A family member told WBNG, quote, across the back of the house on a strip of siding read this message, lie with pigs, fry like bacon, end quote. After investigating, authorities claim it was the firefighter who wrote that message before he burned down his own house. Are there steps fire departments can take to prevent your fighters from fanning the flames, prevent their fighters from fanning the flames of discord?
No, of course not, man. Of course not. There's nothing they can do but fucking stupid. How are you going to legislate against stupid? I mean, these people get busted every time. I'm sorry to have to bring
up every time.
Well, not every time, but I'm, like Tawana Brawley, man. It's like you ever. I don't know.
Tawana's innocent. Race traitor.
I don't know if you ever had any sexy time with. Well, let me see how I can tell this story. Yeah.
With the garbage bag and dog feces?
No, it has nothing to do with Tawana. Now, that was a jump point for asking somebody, having somebody say, when I show up, I want this written on your face. I mean, a friend of mine did this, and she was like, wow, it was really tough because you think, of course I could write on my own face, but you can't because if you're looking in the mirror, the letters are backwards, So the cops pretty much show up and they look at the fucking letters and they go, clearly, are you right-handed or left-handed? I'm right-handed. Well, how do you spell fuck?
Is this the more Downey Jr. thing?
KCUF? Is that how you spell it? Because I don't. No.
Yeah, it's trying to get that too. The backward swastika. I got beaten up and accosted in the airport by Nazis.
But who really knows which way swastikas go? I mean, does the average Nazi actually have a preference of which way his swastika points? Is it like
you never ask a Christian if they know which way a cross points? So
but I would think that
I would think that somebody is a hardcore Nazi. Would know. Okay.
Are you saying I'm not a hardcore Nazi because I don't know which way the swastika goes?
you Nazi fronting, man.
Like those white supremacists who thought that Nazis were saying "Hi Hitler." Hi Hitler. Hi, how you doing? No, I mean this guy.
Is that like the Heaven-O movement? People say when you say hello, that's satanic. So you say Heaven-O.
Oh, I haven't heard that.
That's like freedom.
Listen. Cops who are widely, actually, in secret, when they talk to other cops, make fun of firefighters. They say, oh, you mean those guys who get paid to nap? Cops who had to arrest this guy. Probably the idea that firefighters will be made fun of by cops is all you need to stop a firefighter. If you know the guy arresting you is going to be making jokes about, hey, we got another one. Here comes a guy who gets paid to nap. Well, you get paid to nap here too, friend. Here's your cell. I mean, come on. It's really fucking transparent. And I think on both sides. How do I know? I'll tell you how I know. Because how much of this shit was happening prior to, Is it, well, he's created an environment. Yeah, but you know what it takes to go to the hardware store and get a can of fucking spray paint. You can't get half these kids out here to mow a fucking lawn, much less go to a hardware store, much less even know where a hardware store in their town is to get a can of spray paint. Get some gloves to go out and spell shit wrong on the side of somebody's house right before they burn it down. Do I use gasoline? Do I use kerosene? Do I use paint thinner? There are lots of questions when it's just easier to fucking Snapchat. You know, come on.
Why is it that every sort of racist would-be double frame-up type conspiracy whiz follows the Charles Manson playbook? Like, let's write a bunch of shit on the walls. Everybody will know it's black people. Like,
yeah.
Because black people love writing on walls.
Exactly.
But you know, I mean, given the economic situation, he would have been. He should have found the black cat and said, "Hey, man, I tell you what, spray paint this shit on the side of my house, burn it down, and I'll cut you in for a portion of the insurance money." Because if he didn't do it for the insurance money, this guy's a fucking idiot and deserves everything that's coming his way.
But if he did do it for the insurance money, he's just a hustler out there trying to make a buck.
He's an entrepreneur.
Something extra.
We're gonna call that redneck lightning. Oh man, my third trailer burnt down. Good thing I had that insurance.
Totally racist. Unless you're talking about Mickey Gilley and his series of nightclubs.
Exactly. Exactly. There you go.
Yeah.
So what's your take, Nate?
I mean, I already did it with the Manson family thing. The guy's an idiot. There's nothing you can do about idiots. Like, he's not representative of all firemen. I mean, come on. And anytime cops get onto firemen are like, yeah, girls want to sleep with me. I don't need the handcuffs. Like, people actually like.
I guess that's the counter. That is actually the counter.
Yeah,
you know.
We don't have to, pull our guns out to get any. So, that's all I got to say. This is.
The trumpet is the sound for
the
Kid
strumpet.
Nate's.
I like to bring those words back.
The heel turn. I mean, another week with so many choices, but I have to pick Trump for picking Rick Perry as Secretary of Energy. The department that he himself planned to cancel but couldn't remember at the New Hampshire debate. I mean, I have to think that the Trump transition team was laughing about this one because they didn't forget that Rick Perry was the first to come out against Donald Trump. That was originally Rick Perry's whole plan for his presidential campaign. I'm going to be the guy that stops Donald Trump, and then Jeb's going to give me a cabinet position. And now he finds himself playing Mitt Romney, begging for a cabinet position that he's I mean, you'd think he's not going to get, but apparently he turned it around and kissed the ring, and Donald is a beneficent dictator, and he's going to forgive and forget and appoint you to the very department that you said you were going to cancel, but forgot that was the one. I mean, oops. This is it's just too beautiful. I got to hand it to Donald. Donald and his team have been fucking up and doing some really heinous shit, like the Tillerson thing and the Mnuchin, or however you say it. You know how to say it, Alexi? The Goldman Sachs guy and Secretary of the Treasurer?
Why would I know?
Is it Mnuchin? I don't know. You're a New York lawyer. Come on. I thought you know all these Goldman Sachs guys.
Just because I can read it doesn't mean I know how to pronounce it.
It's
really? Nathan Thurm, all of a sudden, the lawyer gets slippery. Why would I know how to pronounce my friends? I mean, I don't. Who are we talking about?
Exactly. But I mean, all these picking the guy from Hardee's as Secretary of Labor after he's been indicted like serially for massive wage theft. Like, these are some funnies, but I think picking Rick Perry as Secretary of Energy is just absolute genius. That's the
especially during the confirmation hearings, man. This is going to be the greatest set of confirmation hearings ever.
Yes, it could quite well be.
I mean, and I hate to, because it always brings the conversation to a screeching halt. I hate to make a comparison to the Third Reich. However, one thing I have said before, I've said before, I have a bunch of speeches here with Mussolini, and when Mussolini was speaking, the audiences were laughing. No, come on. Will you let me finish? So people were laughing and joking. He's cracking jokes. They never did this with Hitler. However, Hitler had a fucking sly wit, very similar to Trump, at work, where they signed the fucking accord, with the French surrender, right? And he's on tape, but he's on record as having said, we're gonna plant the Jews we're going to plant them in the East, and we'll see if they laugh so much then. I mean, it was a lot of clever smirking behind the hand type of stuff. And somebody was like trying to own in on a definition of cruelty. And they said cruelty is consciousness and enjoyment of wrongdoing. Right. And I said, well, that's kind of loose because, you know, I could be gleefully fucking, you know, stealing money from a parking meter. That's not really evil, you know. They said, well, it's not good, but okay, I don't want to get lost in the weeds. But there was this kind of sly wit, and I'm seeing that with all these picks. If you don't like the system, if you fundamentally believe in smaller government, what the fuck do you do? Here, put this sugary substance in your car. It'll make it go much faster. You go, fucking hey, he must be right. He knows what he's saying. He's a billionaire. So I pour the sugary substance in my gas tank and the car breaks. Ah, your car's broken. See, I told you it would break. If you don't like the system, fucking break it. Just break it. Break it.
You think Tillerson is going to break the system? The CEO of Exxon knows how to work the system.
That's what I'm saying. You know, people were outraged on the radio as I'm driving here to I'm listening to it. I'm driving here and they're like outraged. Outraged. Oh. I guess you forgot about Cheney and Halliburton. These guys are gonna you're gonna be like a cartoon character in a barrel with your fucking wrinkled socks on, and there will be nothing left. And I hope when the dust clears, I'm standing with them. I'm with them. I'm gonna redo the Hillary logo. I'm with them. The rich
guy. Fuchsia MAGA hat.
What's that?
The deal? Are you waiting for a fuchsia MAGA hat to come out? Make America Great Again? You're just holding out for your color?
Man, hey, I sponsor. You pay, I sponsor.
Man.
Let's see.
The ticking clock.
I gotta jump into the Lost Battalion since he jumped all over the heel turn. But hats off to Eugene for calling Anthony Pettis. That was
thank you, sir.
Ballsy.
I was gonna lead out with that. Yeah, so go ahead, go finish. Okay.
That's all. I just wanted to ruin your good time.
Oh, no, you increased my good time. I was going to give you more room to crawl around and admit how wrong you were because I remember.
Wrong. I just said it was insanely ballsy to pick Pettis as the Lost Battalion before the fight was over. That's all.
Yeah, oh, you know how many texts I got from people enjoying your misery? And they go, oh, you got a chance to. Those guys laughed at you. I felt like Vincent Price. They laughed at me at the academy. Yeah, man, have you ever seen a guy?
Dr. Fives?
Yeah, of course, Dr. Fives. Good for you, man. That was a good catch. So, I mean, Pettis just went. It was like watching Greg Louganis, where he's like, you know, hey, my hand. Holds a hand up, you know, and he's like, yeah, you know, I'm anything you say after after you fucking had your ass kicked like that, it pretty much is a way to say bonsai right before you go to the Lost Battalion. You don't say you unless you're saying I'm done. I'm done. And
no
then
mas,
you go,
no mas.
you know. So I mean, I'm feeling for the guy because again, you know, how many of us have to face these moments of darkness at the age of 29 or 30, however the fucking old the guy is. But you know, you knew what the job, like Mr. Marcus said, you knew what the job was when you took it. You know,
I think you're feeling cruelty.
I'm delighted. No, I have no reason.
You do.
I have no reason to
pick. You
know what it is.
A life that's ruined at 29. Not gonna age as fabulously as you. Fuchsia suits.
Okay, you know that band, the Coasters.
Yes, that was a harmony group, not a band.
Yeah, okay. Charlie Brown, he's a clown. Yeah. Okay, the Pete guy, not Pete, the guy whose last name is Guy. His son was a friend of mine. Buddy Guy. Yeah, no, Buddy Guy is a guitar player. This is somebody else. Whatever, you can look it up. It doesn't matter. His son was a friend of mine, right? His son went into the fucking Marines. They said, we'll give you 4 years in the Marines, but because of your 4 years in jail or 4 years in the Marines, because of your father, we're giving you this choice. You're a good kid, get your shit together. So he goes to the Marines. So the Marines do what they do, and invariably this country kid from South Carolina comes in, and they're giving him soap parties, which they put some bars of soap in a sock and beat the hell. It's hazing. It's like fraternity hazing. Guy can't take it, and he kills himself. It's a sobering thing. Dead dude in the fucking.
This is a kid you knew?
No, the guy who I knew lived. He's telling me this story.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, dead kid in the barracks, 19-year-old kid dead. It's a drag. So they'll line him up the next day, and the drill sergeant comes in, and, they think he's going to say something, just to get some unit cohesion back, some kind of just, to help people make sense of what happened. And he was like, Johnson is not here because Johnson was a weak, fat fuck.
Damn.
and
Why did I think that
point,
was funny? That was sick.
Yeah, exactly.
You're
Man.
sick.
Okay, so I
Cruelty.
see Pettis.
That was nervous laughter.
Pettis.
Yeah.
I see Pettis. Look, Mike Thomas Brown went through a similar thing. He went to all kinds of doctors. He goes, my training is great. I don't know, when I get into the fight, I'm biological. And finally they said, maybe you're seeing the wrong type of doctor. And they tend to no head guy. And if your head goes, I got nothing for you, man. I got nothing for you.
What about some convenience store Cialis?
Well, that's a revelation. Like I said, the two Johnny Boney Jonies, that he is a man split. He is bifurcated, and what he's clinical. What are you going to do with somebody like that? So anyway, but that's Pettis is safely ensconced in the Lost Battalion next to somewhere in the vague proximity of Chris Weidman. I mean, Jose is Major Tom. If we could find him somewhere in outer space where he's intermittently communicating with us, maybe we might be able to say where he is. But
so the where's Aldo thing totally sticks. That really works for you, Eugene, huh?
Yeah, it pretty. I mean, he to stop that. You know what you got to do? Somebody calls you a nickname you don't like, you got to fuck them up. And he blew that chance in about 13 seconds in his match against McGee, So if somebody calls your girlfriend, if your girlfriend's name is Charlotte, and they're calling her Charlotte the Harlot, you got to nip that shit in the bud or make it work for you. Hey, Harl, there you go. Hey, Harl. So, but in terms of this fight, do we have any new entries into? Well, you know what we all have conveniently not mentioned. We've all conveniently not mentioned UFC Fight Night, the Friday night event, which was fucking misery. I feel it's like a Danzig song, misery unbridled. I predict more fights like that. Those are Lost Battalion. You're not getting me. You're not. Fuck that, man. You're not. And guys, I know I love you guys. You're texting me and tweeting me and like, Eugene, the early prelims on that Friday card. You can't miss this guy and that guy. And there were some entertaining fights on it. I gotta talk about it on Knuckle Up, but you can't. Your days. But
when you're in a headliner, you cannot shit the bed like that.
You can't, and you're not gonna do it to me again. I'm sorry. I could be like Charlie Brown and Lucy Van Pelt, but I'm telling you, it's not happening again. Friday, so you just essentially, I had to fucking fuck up my home life by Friday and Saturday night for that.
I missed it. What happened in the fight? What was
nothing for like 4 rounds.
Were they just circling or clinching or what?
The Russian guy didn't want to fight with Lewis.
So what do you do?
And Lewis could not solve the riddle of the running Russian guy.
Oh, I was running.
Yeah,
he was warned.
That's my
he was
worst.
warned. He was going to take a fucking. He was told we are going to take a point off if you keep this shit up. Stop it.
You can at least have some like Condit stupid kicks in there to make it look like I'm actually fighting.
Well, he had some moves here and there, but it reached a point where he realized he physically was outmatched and just started running. And it took Lewis quite a bit of time, like an extra round, 2 rounds, round and a half, to figure out, if I just bull rush the guy, take him down and beat the shit out of him, I can finish this. But, it was just, it was painfully, tediously, awfully bad.
Man. You know what? I mean, the one mitigating factor is I get the sense. I mean, we can put it in Lost Battalion, but I get the sense that WME, that's not part of their plan for the future. We're now cleaning house. It's the last 5 minutes of The Godfather. We're leveling all accounts, taking care of folks, and
cannolis for everybody.
They've already said we're cutting 15%, and at my count, the number of front office cans that they've had. It's not gotten close to 15%. So start looking to your left or start looking to your right, and maybe get the Scott Coker's number out. Get it on your phone because you're gonna need it.
Man,
You're not even talking about Tim Kennedy.
I was gonna say, is my
I just enjoyed that so much on the fucking on Knuckle Up and people were like, why are you enjoying this so much? Is it that he's a patriot? Is it that he's a dumb? I just go.
I know you're anti-labor, Eugene. Don't even try to hide it.
No. That's not my article. Wasn't anti-labor. It was exactly what's going to happen. Let's go over there and get them. And then you get halfway, and then like they. I mean, did you ever see them breaking ranks quite as fast as they did? Yeah. Did you? I said it, and it was like I see things. I didn't expect it to happen. That soon, you know.
Yeah. I didn't expect Cerrone to fold within 2 days. Like,
no,
I didn't know. I didn't know I was on the board.
And you know what I'm shocked and surprised about, that the guys whose asses are out in the breeze I haven't heard much from Kane. You know, I think
Kane's a man of few words and few fights.
Few words.
Okay. Fights. Well, those other guys who were here, you know what? I'm just gonna sit and wait for them to come back. And now Rebney is starting to fight with everybody, calling people names and calling this guy there, and it's done. It's fucking done. It's done, man. It's like, I don't know if you remember this guy Costas, but his show, he would invariably book shows in people's living rooms. He's a French performance artist, but this is in days before the internet, so nobody knew. And he was performing with Lisa Suckdog, which was her stage name, and so they would play music off of a little closing play, you know, a little plastic kitty. And so she'd be playing like a ukulele or something. He'd be playing music, and the audience would be kind of amused. They'd be like, "This Frenchman," and he's ranting and screaming. And he starts pulling his clothes off, and they're like, "Oh, this is daring art." It's in somebody's fucking living room in a nice big house. Looks like something in Connecticut, you know. And they're playing, and he's switching the records, and the music is going, and she's playing some kind of music. And then he's like now completely naked. And go, "Oh, this entertaining Frenchman who's ranting in French." And then he like is jumping up and down, and next thing you know, he's pooping on the floor. And that's when people go, "Ah, that's it!" And they all start to flee. It's like they realize, fuck, how did I? And he's running around this nice Connecticut home. He smeared himself with shit, so nobody wants to touch him.
What's his name again? Gigi Allen?
Costas. No. This is before Gigi. Well, no, actually, Gigi's.
No, the whole point was I was making a joke of French Gigi Allen.
I
thought you were mispronouncing Bob Costas at first.
No, it's COS.
That's how I felt watching some of those interviews. But
I used to sell a video in my store when I had a store, but it was great. And it's the same kind of thing. It's like, you know, what are you gonna do, man?
Does all performance art end up eventually in pooping? Is that like part of the performance art?
The broke ones. I have a friend who's a performance artist, and she viewed us as like kindred spirits, and she said, "Eugene, I want you to watch my new." She's French. "I want you to watch my new thing. It's very heavy." And she's dressed like a bag lady in this thing. This thing goes on for 45 fucking minutes, and she sets loose animals, right? And then halfway through, she starts stomping on these fucking animals and killing them, right? And I was like, you know what? I think our friendship is fucking done. I don't, you know, and not at chicks.
Baby chicks.
Yellow peeps. Baby chicks, man.
Well, you know what happens to baby chicks when you eat your McNuggets, right? Like they put chicks in a sluice.
You do realize I'm only eating fish, right? I'm a pescatarian.
Filet-O-Fish.
So,
they do it in Filet-O-Fish too.
Yeah, whatever, man. If you threw the fish on the floor and stomped on live fish, people wouldn't have the same feelings as they do about the little yellow baby chicks that they're running around. They look so cute. It's like Easter all over again. And then she's stomping on them and smashing them, screaming shit in French.
You couldn't handle it?
I watched the whole video, and at the end, I was like, you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to give you a taste of your own medicine.
Well, it's so funny. I just thought you were making it was some kind of metaphor for
Bjork.
No, for
Bjork.
Yeah, for what Bjork did and poor TJ Dillashaw is like one of the little chicks.
Oh, that's right. He's another one. That's right. See, he was smart. Kane was just gonna hope to kind of edge out of the picture. And TJ was like, if I hold still long enough, they won't notice me. And it worked until you got him. You fucking got him. So Cerrone's out. Kennedy's insignificant. Who's the third guy?
Bjorn.
GSP. You're forgetting GSP.
GSP got a fight. He's like, it worked.
Yeah.
He's like, they came back to the negotiating table, but I still care about my fellow fighters.
Yeah.
That was great, man. They all
and the fucking thing is, you got to know that somebody said, what does he say? I told him I was going to steal it. He said, hold on. It's some play with Bjork's name and pornography. I'll find it. But you got to know that guy's a dead man. He is fucking dead. He is dead. You know, it's no.
But he's got investors.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, you know
I can't find the guy.
By starting our own MMA promotion.
Yeah, he's done, man. I haven't seen anybody more thoroughly fucking done. I thought he was done before, and this was his big moment. This was his aha reveal. And who's going where now? After the King Mo fucking blast, after the Baldwin blast, after the defections, after fucking who Cerrone was like Jodie Foster, a Taxi Driver. Yeah, unless I'm high, I got nowhere to go. I must have been high when I jumped into your cab that night, Bjork. Yeah. Well, that guy's fucking lost battalion hard. If he lives.
What is somebody going to put a spike through his head?
You said it.
Allegedly. I mean.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us. Follow us on Twitter at EUGENE'S Robinson, at KidNate Alexiol. Please give us a thumbs up, Eugene.
Just one finger?
Well, you don't need to see. Like I precariously balanced this fucking computer on a slippery box that now I'm using my left hand to hold with all my might because it started to slip halfway through the show.
I see.
Hold on. Let me. There you go. I'm using my elbow to hold it. Okay. All right. Yeah, you can laugh, Mr. Exploiting the workers. How come I'm using a fucking box to hold this computer up?
Man. And leave comments on YouTube. Subscribe to MMANation.com on YouTube and MMA Nation on iTunes. Visit Bloody Elbow, read EugeneOzzy.com, and be sure to check out all three of us on Amazon. We'll be back next week with another installment, If I Did It, and we don't know what we're going to be talking about because the PR mistakes have yet to be made.
Well, also, this